Hey, welcome to the latest episode of the Voices of eCommerce. I'm John Drake, Professor of Management Information Systems at East Carolina University. In this podcast, I interview the incredible people behind the scenes of e-commerce, the people that design, build, market, and run various online, mobile, and social initiatives. And now, on with the show. Oh, well, hi everyone. Today I am honored to speak with Fran Stacks. I first met Fran at one of my first semesters at ECU, East Carolina University, and she graduated from there in 2012, got her MBA in 2017. Still remains one of my favorite students to this day. Well, Fran started her career at Bank of America, moving from an administrative assistant position into a business analyst, I'm assuming after she got her degree in MIS, and then into digital marketing, where she was a channel manager and finally a cross-product manager. And then in 2020, she moved to Wells Fargo and now works as a marketing program manager in charge of the digital marketing initiatives. And that's what we're here to talk to you about, Fran. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your history, in more detail than what I gave. uh,
So that was actually a good summation. So I had a degree in marketing. Well, I have a degree in marketing retailing that I got in, and I'll date myself, in the 90s. And as you can imagine, marketing changed quite a bit with technology and all of that. And it was around 2010, I think, when I started with ECU in the MIS program. And I just realized, well, technology is just really, really ramping up, and I need to get a larger and more robust understanding of it than what I have now, or what I could just do with, like at that time, YouTube videos and all of that. So I went back to ECU and got my MIS, and that's where we met.
mhm.
Um, and then after that, ECU made it really helpful in getting your MBA. And I started that process and finished that up in 2017. And where it was not as planned as I would like for it to have been, but it was kind of well thought out, is that having a management information systems degree, which is very tech based, a marketing degree, and then an MBA on top of it, just kind of married this world of understanding that brought me to a little bit higher levels at Bank of America and doing program management after channel management, and then getting into Wells and just having that background of understanding the behind the scenes of digital marketing, which is all technology based. I mean, you have to throw it up on websites, you have to make sure that it's receiving impressions and clicks. And then while I don't have to fix anything that goes wrong, and very rarely things do go wrong, when you have that technical background, you can kind of think things through a little bit better. But yeah, so it just kind of worked out that I started with an interest in marketing in, my first foray into college, and then technology. And that really kind of ramped up where I saw things really taking off, and opportunities just kind of opened the door. And then the MBA was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, so you mentioned a few terms here. I just want to make sure that people listening understand. So like a channel manager, what does a channel manager do?
That's a good question. So in digital marketing specifically, in my experience, is that you have multiple places on a website where things will render. And if you think of any website that you've seen, there's usually a very large banner space where the first thing is seen, and that's where your eyes grab. And most prospects and customers will only give you about 3 seconds of time to get their attention and keep it. And then down from there, each one is a different space, or in some places, channel or container that has very specific targeting, very specific technology behind it. And as crazy as it sounds, there are people behind each one of those placements that manage that channel. So especially if you have a rotating banner, you have to be very careful about what you put in there. Make sure it's running, make sure the targeting is not going to render to someone who would not benefit from seeing that ad at all. So when you say channel, it really kind of makes it even more real that when you look at a web page, it's not just one person just throwing up there and putting stuff up there. There are a lot of people behind all of that stuff, and
Yeah.
compliance and legal and all of those things, making sure ADA specifications are met with color and not putting like white font and a white background. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But
Right,
specific
right.
to your question, a channel is an actual placement on a page.
Interesting. I mean, and I had always thought of channel as more like your social media channels, your video channels, your,
Yeah.
so that I never really thought of it in terms of a website and having different channels on one website or one page even. That's kind of a new way of looking at it. I like it. So tell me a little bit about what some of the projects you're working on now.
So specifically for Wells, I handle our digital marketing for the checking product and savings product. And I have public site and what's called secure session. So public site is something that anybody can see. You go to wellsfargo.com, and if you see a checking advertisement for everyday checking, that's mine. Then with secure session, it is authenticated. It means that John Drake has an account with Wells Fargo, and you have your username and password. And once you enter that, then you can see my secure session placements. So those are just the two things that I do. It's the lights on type thing. That's we keep it going all the time. And then one thing that we're getting back in the market with is offers for cash bonus, offer incentives for checking. And then I do a lot of fun stuff with projects and testing and more of the technical side and capabilities of things as it comes up. But still
Okay.
from a marketing standpoint. So it's not like I'm back there trying to figure out new capabilities and everything. It's once they're in place, I get to muck around with them.
Right, right. And so, I mean, you touched a little bit on it, but what does your day-to-day activities look like then? I mean, it sounds like you're a manager, so you're, I guess, overseeing multiple people. Is that correct?
So the manager is more of a I do it from a program standpoint. I know I do what Wells is shifting to is an agile base. So I do have a marketing team that we work with together to do things. So we have our builder who does things and puts them in our program that will get the approvals of compliance and legal optimization, does our targeting and everything. So day to day, it's really what is up in our backlog and what we have in the sprint. So with the lights on campaigns that I have for the checking and savings, we just have to update those and make sure that not getting out of compliance approvals for the duration. So all of our creative is only good for 1 year. Um, the other stuff is like the cash bonus offers or other campaigns that come up in between, and just getting the marketing agency to create the placement, creative and copy, talking with targeting to get things going and optimization to run them. Any of the project based stuff, as you can imagine, in a corporate setting, it takes a lot of time. I mean, just like it took us forever to get together, it takes it forever for things to get off the ground sometimes. So it's just a lot
Right.
of meetings, a lot of negotiation, a lot of talk through to make sure everything's lining up.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're a lot of, okay. And so, I mean, you mentioned a few of the technologies you're using for the advertising. I mean, to go a little bit more on how that works. As much as you understand, I mean, I know you're not the technical person on this, but so you say that the display ads, is that generally
Yep.
what you're only working with, and how does that work?
So that's a good question. And what we have is a system that renders based on the targeting that we get approvals for. But there are all kind of levers that optimization can approve. So basically what it looks like for me is I will say, I want to target prospects and customers. I want it to show this many times and then stop, because you don't want to wallpaper people with the
Hmm.
same creative or whatever, especially in certain placements. But then there are a whole list of things that are with the data management platform that's called the DMP. And I know a lot of people use that, where it's cookie based. You can use first, second, third party data to really kind of get into the guts of things and really render a more personalized, banner to someone. Now, not personalized in that it would be like, John Drake, get this ad. This is the perfect product for you. But it's more like it will have learned from you what your almost expectation would be from a marketing standpoint of the things that you would want to see that are relevant to you.
So would the ad change? Like if I'm clicking around on different products in your website and then I come back to, the checking or savings, will it remember where I've been and be able to customize the ad for me?
No, we're getting there.
Okay.
But that's a little more sophisticated than we're able to get right now.
Sure, sure.
I mean, if
Um,
if you interact with one, say for instance, you interacted with one and it saw that you had already interacted with it, it's not going to serve it to you again in a matter of
gotcha.
time in those
Okay.
days. Well, we have certain guardrails around, like if you hit the back button and you've already seen an ad, we're not going to sling it in your face again.
Yeah, right, right. But I guess that would be more of a for the general audience when you have already clients. Then if they're in that secure area, you could see
Mhm.
they have a checking account. You could give them an ad for a savings account or vice versa.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
we would
And then
know based on every customer is assigned a specific number, almost like a social security number. So
mhm,
we can, make sure that you're you have that level of security in there, but at the same time, we'll know like, okay, Dr. Drake has a checking account. Don't show him ads for checking accounts. He's already got one. But maybe he would
right.
benefit from a savings account or understanding any of the other digital features that would make his life more convenient.
hmm That makes sense. That makes sense. And now, as the program manager, it sounded like you do a lot of communication with other people throughout the organization. So, I mean, what types of technologies do you generally use for that, other than email? Obviously, video conferencing.
Yeah.
How do you get your job done, basically?
We are heavy in Zoom right now, especially because I started with Wells at the height of the pandemic. So I haven't had the opportunity to have like the conversations in passing the hall or walking out of meetings or anything. So right now it's all mainly Zoom, Skype, and email, and just phone calls at this point. Which I don't
hmm
know, like if we get back into the office, if that will change much because it's in California. I always have to deal with, and the time difference there. And then I've got my manager actually is in Iowa, well, spread all out in Minneapolis and all of that stuff. So going into the office, will be great. I would like to meet people and my, peers and whatnot, but we're still going to have to do the same Zoom, Skype, email, however
hmm
you can best communicate at the most convenient time for people.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now, you've been doing this for a while. How has it changed over the last 10 years?
Oh gosh. I would say it's gotten more sophisticated. That's the fun part of it. And one of the things that I'll probably never leave digital marketing. As technology changes, marketing tries to keep up with it. Um, the expectation of customers, I will tell you, is one thing that has really changed.
Hmm.
And it's what we've really kept our eye on as Amazons and all of that have gotten more sophisticated algorithms. I mean, like well, I know I live in Amazon, and you have the little recommended for you feature and all of that. Um, there have been, several studies and several things that I've heard that expectation was planted now. So when people come to me, it's expected that I know what they need. Um,
Hmm.
and that has been a market shift that I have seen. Whereas when I first started, it was just make sure you're relevant, make sure that you're buttoned up from a compliance and legal aspect, and make sure it's rendering. And then it just got so much more customer focused, so much more about personalization and
Hmm.
anticipation, and some of the things that you know, weren't always hygiene factors before, like the built-in security and everything that was there for forever. Like people come to a site and they expect their information to stay and remain secure and be secure and everything. It seems like anymore that personalization aspect of it is now becoming a hygiene factor. That it's not only it's it's expected to be there,
Interesting.
which is a neat shift. But watching, especially from a financial institution standpoint, us trying to keep up with getting to that point.
Now, how do you balance that with the increasing worries about privacy and their data on your systems and what you're able to, the amount of data you, obviously everyone's collecting, not just Wells Fargo, but
Yeah.
every company. Do you feel much pushback in that arena? And if so, how are you dealing with it?
Um, Honestly, I'm grateful to have to worry about. Um, I think Wells does an amazing job of safety and keeping security there, but since that doesn't fall under anything that I have to really worry about with that security of information, it's just, marketing doesn't go down that level.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Here I got a hard question for you. Think, excuse me, a sticky situation or hard problem you've had in the past on the job. Tell us a little bit about what led to that situation. What was your thought process in the middle of it, and then what was the outcome?
Oh gosh, that is a well, it wasn't as well at Wells, but I think professionally, one of the sticky situations that I got into where it was just like sweating and trying to figure out is we launched a campaign and realized coming in the next day that it had reached the wrong customer base. And when that happens, yeah, and it happens. It's one of those things like mistakes happen, and it happens, to the best of us. Um, but yeah, so the message was that accounts were being closed and moved to actually another financial institution. So we kind of freaked people out quite a bit,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
trying to figure out what happened. So you have to go through, and what I tell my team is just like make sure our street is clean, and then we go and help others to try to like make sure theirs is, and then you find the street where it's not clean, and then you I, best I can recall, we figured out it was just a freak and fluke system issue that caused it to happen. But then, those things happen, and you have to send. And I think we've all probably gotten a company. I know I get a patient where they have to send me something saying your card's been compromised. Um, but we sent letters out, and we were just kind of like, "Psych, that was not meant for you. Don't worry, everything's fine." And um, it was it was nerve-wracking, and it did not end as quickly ever as you hope it will. So you just kind of
Right.
go through and yank the ads out and deal with it and move on. But it's never a good feeling when it happens, but it does happen to the best of us. Execution issues are going to happen.
Yeah. Right.
You're
Right.
going to hit the wrong audience, you're going to hit the wrong person, you're going to say the wrong thing. Just oops, sorry, and move on.
Yeah. So what types of trends do you see in the industry that you think you'll be digging more into and be capturing not just at Wells Fargo, but in marketing in general? Where do you see things going?
At 100% personalization, making
Okay,
things more relevant, making things feel more individualized, the way that I think expectation is crafting itself.
gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Um, what was one of the hardest career choices you made?
Leaving Bank of America to come to Wells.
Why is that?
100%. It was a leap of faith. In Charlotte, there's Bank of America and there's Wells Fargo. And you will see a lot. The Bank of America is literally on one side of uptown, and then Wells is on the other. And it happens a lot where people will leave, and we call it crossing the street because the major street and thoroughfare goes through and breaks it. I never thought it would be me. I was at Bank of America for 15 years, and a friend reached out to me on this position, and it was literally just a kind of like, why not? We'll see what happens. They go through the interview process, and you're always just like, well, if I get an offer, I don't have to accept it. And then I got
Right,
my offer, and it was um, it was a leap of faith. Bank of America was just kind of like my home, my career home. I thought I was going to be there forever.
right.
So, but it's worked out. I've never been happier.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. All right. So, what type of advice would you give someone interested in pursuing a career in digital marketing,
Do it.
whether it's
Absolutely do
MIS
it.
or otherwise? I'm sorry.
Absolutely do it. It's if you want to be in a place where it's always going to change, always going to be challenging, and you're not going to feel like you get in this career repetition. Um,
Hmm.
because when we were first talking about my career, when I started off at Bank of America, I was in compliance, and that is a very done type thing where it's compliance laws, all of that stuff don't really change. So you're
Hmm.
going through checks and balances every day, and it's kind of this uniform, very meticulous, dot all your I's, cross all your T's type thing. Um, but it never changes, and that's good if you like that level of security. I love the idea that, and I experience it all the time. Um, Technology changes. There are always different ways to serve ads to someone that is going to be most helpful to them. Um, and it you can almost get lost in marketing technology of it, but one thing that I really love is always making sure I'm customer focused. I want to make sure that it's going to be beneficial to the customer and it's going to be served in a beneficial way that is something that will benefit them. And that was really one thing about this that really appealed to me is specifically being a checking marketer, and that's 100% where your typical relationship with a financial institution starts. You have the outliers that somebody just has a mortgage with you or a credit card or that it type thing, that single serve kind of attitude with their financial institution. But the majority, your relationship starts with the checking account. At Bank of
Hmm.
America, um, gosh, in the 90s or something. And I'm still loyal to Bank of America. They have everything. And just seeing how that worked with me, I love the idea that it's um, somebody's first experience with a financial institution and being impactful with that.
Hmm.
Um, but it doesn't have to be a financial institution. Digital marketing is just, it's never going anywhere. It's only growing and it's only getting different and more sophisticated and more fun.
Hmm. Very cool. Yeah, I've noticed the same. And I spoke with a gentleman who works at Adobe and as their
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, and their marketing products. Like most people recognize Adobe for their creative arts stuff, all their Photoshop and Illustrator. They don't hear about the marketing
Oh, their
um,
Adobe Experience
tools.
Manager that I got to play with a while ago. You want to
Yeah.
talk about sophistication and being able to render relevant stuff in real time? Oh,
Mm.
it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like it.
And they're so
So,
pervasive. They have like Salesforce and everything. It's not just Adobe.
do they own Salesforce?
I thought they did. Did they not? Maybe not.
I don't. I haven't. I have no idea.
Yeah, but
That's
it's
cool.
it's
Cool.
incredible stuff.
Yeah, it really is. So, and that's where I see I see the industry completely moving in that direction as well. I mean,
Oh yeah.
um, if anything, now the trouble will be trying to manage all the information in such a way that you can still protect their privacy and still give them that personalization as much as they want, without, you know,
Being
causing
too big
people to
brother
freak out.
and you're like,
Yeah.
why do you know that about me? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, oh, cool. So, I mean, I guess that wraps up my questions. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I guess curiosity wise, from you being a professor and the up and coming and people in your class now, and obviously going into, I would assume, professional technical degree on some level in their career. Um, have you seen your students change with their ability to understand the coding classes that you have and the technology classes? Because I know I was pretty green when I was in your class, but I have to feel like, I mean, I just watch my son with some of the stuff that he's able to do with games and stuff and the sophistication there. Do you feel like your students are more technologically savvy now than they were when you had me? I won't be offended at all if you say yes.
Yeah, in certain things, yes. Like in pure coding ability, I don't think that's changed.
Yeah,
Um, but they, I mean, to that now it's the point, and I guess it still was 10 years ago, the cell phone was strapped to your hip. Now it's more so that, and they use the ways of communicating on there very well, sometimes too
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Um, but but yeah, and it's going to continue to grow. Like I've even when I was giving my final, I was like, well, I don't know if there's a way to cheat using smartwatches, but why don't we take them off just in case?
Oh, that's a
Because
good point.
I'm sure within a very short period of time, people will figure out a way of using them. Um, and so, yeah, if they haven't already, I'm sure that's already out there. So,
Oh yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah.
there's sophistication of some sorts, but it's just moved from one area to another. I don't think it's, you know, I don't know.
But
It's a good
yeah, and
question.
to your point with that, that we have seen mobile marketing has skyrocketed. Mobile is, I would say, probably 75 to 80% more of the traffic that you typically have than desktop now,
Yeah,
which is
that's about what I've
crazy.
heard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
5 years
crazy.
ago, I heard it was 50%, and it was just only trending upwards.
Oh yeah,
So it's,
it's huge. It is absolutely huge. Well, that good. That's response makes me feel not so far behind. the, the guys 10 years behind me, and when I got my degree, I said, yeah, I guess it's been almost 10 years now.
yeah.
Our we're kind of starting off on the same foot.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn. So, especially,
There
I
is.
think part of it is that technology keeps moving so fast that no matter how much they've learned, they're still way behind of where it needs to be because there's just so much change in the industry.
Yeah. And
Um,
yeah, and that's what makes it fun. It's like
mm,
I
yeah.
feel like people that get into the MIS degrees and whatnot do have that thirst to continue to
Mhm.
learn. And I think the digital marketing industry and the technology industry, because digital marketing is so heavy on technology, will quench that thirst
Yeah, absolutely.
because you're not going to
Yeah,
if
in
you're
fact,
stuck, you're just going to get run over and run out of career runway.
and honestly, I wish more marketing students would take some of our classes. I think it would do them well because
I
we
think
do
so too.
all those.
I would be really surprised if marketing degrees don't. I'm well, actually, I'll correct myself. I'm really surprised marketing degrees are not teaching more technology based stuff
Yeah,
and ways to render in technology because direct mail statements like that just doesn't happen anymore.
yeah, right.
And I think it should be a requirement of a degree that you understand um, at least some of an MIS degree basis, like a class or two here or there, because it's all technology now.
So, are you ever in a position to hire or interview new people?
I was at Bank of America. I wasn't a hiring manager, but when new people
Yeah.
came in, they would, put them in front of me and I would kind of vet them out a little bit and see like, what is your true interest? You don't
So,
want anybody that's just there to,
yeah.
clock.
So, do you
You
think a program in digital marketing would be of interest to companies like Bank of America or Wells Fargo? Not just, kind of in the mix of marketing and
Say that one more
MIS.
time.
Do you think there would be a interest at companies like Bank of America or Wells Fargo for new students with a degree in digital marketing that kind of
Oh yeah, definitely.
marries that marketing and um,
Definitely. I would say though,
MIS?
kind of by the time that you get to your Bank of Americas or Wells or financial institutions, one thing that makes it very difficult are looking for experience, and that makes it really super hard to get experience. And then one thing that I've noticed um, as I was looking around for jobs for friends is they're now requiring financial institution experience. So
Mm,
it's like you almost have to have an internship or something, which I remember Bank of America did. I don't know if Wells does. I just haven't been here long enough and been part of it. But they had MBA that would come through
mm,
digital marketing and they had the internships there and stuff like that. But I know it's not just necessarily a degree, but experience as well.
mhm.
Um, and I kind of fell, you know, backwards blessed into that right after I rolled off of your degree, I had a tech contract at Bank of America that I got fortunate enough to get, which ended, and marketing was just like, hey, we'll take her. And I didn't know anything about marketing, but it just so happened that I kind of was in the back door and just kind of put my foot in it before it closed.
Nice, nice, very nice. Well, wonderful. Well, I mean, I guess that will wrap us up, Fran. Fran, it has been so wonderful to talk to you again, and thank you so much
You
for your
as
time.
well.
But
You as well. Sorry
again,
we took so long.
that's all right. We got there though. That's the important thing. All
Made
right.
it
So
happen.
yay.
But thank you, Dr. Drake.
All
We'll
right.
talk soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.